Hi, I'm April, and I'm going to show you some of the lessons we've learnt from our food forest at Mount Kembla in New South Wales, Australia since 1993. This is part 1, where we will talk about who, why, and our goals. In the later parts, we will discuss strategies and bioregional techniques. We live in the wider Wollongong area. You can see the mountain called Mount Kembla. I've circled it up there. My mother's people have lived here for many generations. The area was a rich home to Tharawal people, and they would gather in their hundreds on the flat areas by the sea. I live in the foothills of Mount Kembla. Here it was heavily timbered, and the Aboriginal people would visit seasonally. Mostly the men would come up here to hunt, and sometimes the women would come to give birth. Mount Kembla is where koalas discovered white man. The koalas are now extinct here, and the Wollongong area has a really comfortable climate. However, it is getting warmer, and the trees are desperately trying to adapt by fruiting earlier in the season. Officially, we have an oceanic climate, but with humid subtropical influences. So we're on the edge, the southern edge of the subtropics. The highest recorded temperature here is 44.1 degrees Celsius. It wasn't a one-off. We've had hot months since then. Wollongong receives good rainfall, so it's a pretty good spot to grow food. Who are we? This is me with my partner Paul Kelly. He's a green technology engineer. He specialises in low energy steel. I run a website called Permaculture Visions. We've had students online since 1993. You might know this image. This is one of my most viral images. The development of the food forest has been a fun part of our permaculture journey. The journey has been enlightening. I see it as an ecolution. Catherine van Wilgenberg described the process of ecolution. She coined the term, and she delivered it to an eco arts conference, amazing conference. She described that first stage of becoming aware. Then we need to get into the hopeful stage where we can hope that we can make a difference. And then we look around and try and see what other people are doing and become inspired. Then we build skills to do the same. And we finally become empowered because we get that positive feedback from nature. And then in later stages, you can turn and become supportive to others. That's partly why I've created this video. I'm hoping that it's inspiring and that it equips you, and I'm hoping to support you. I started my permaculture journey with Jude and Michelle Fanton of Seed Savers Australia. It's there I became aware of the narrow range of food types in a Western diet. Also, after seeing the work of Bruce French, I decided to broaden our foods to include uncommon and underutilised foods. And then after reading Dark Emu, I realised we must include more Indigenous foods. There's 3 different types of foods. There's the common foods, like bananas, mulberries, limes. And I'm including the Monstera deliciosa there because it's commonly known as a houseplant. It's not commonly known as a fruit. Beyond that, there are uncommon cultivars. It's those uncommon cultivars that will suit the site. So something like a loganberry might be better than a blackberry. In our case, the native raspberry is far better than the European raspberry. The white mulberry is far more delicious than the black mulberry, but it's not as productive. But that's okay. We don't need kilos of mulberries. The native fig doesn't taste too bad. It's tiny, but it tastes good. The uncommon foods, such as the jackfruit, the jabuticaba, the Chinese date, the Malaysian apple, and so forth, they really push the boundaries of a site. And to be honest, if a plant doesn't thrive, it will probably die. And so over time, the site will end up favouring those plants that do well. We can demonstrate what grows on the edges. How can we push the boundaries? The food forest is part of our permaculture lifestyle. It helps us in our ethics of care of the planet and care of people, and sharing the surplus. It's a way for us to reduce our inputs, such as food, medicine, exercise, entertainment, and education, from other sources. We get that from the forest. and it helps us increase our outputs such as carbon capture, growing stuff and fixing things. Given that permaculture design aims to reduce our consumption and increase production, the food forest is a great asset. The reduced inputs for the food forest means no toxic chemicals, less effort for pest control, and reducing our dependence on machinery like lawnmowers. And in return, we spend energy on retrofitting the home, repairing things, and supporting innovations such as solar power. The food forest meets a lot of our energy needs. Apart from giving us some food and medicines and herbs, it gives us fuel in winter to keep us warm, and in summer keeps the area cool. So our yield goals will be different to other people's yield goals. Our goals include food and medicine, heating, natural light, reduced waste and consumption. Pest and disease is really important, so if something gets a lot of pests or disease, we've had to let it go. Nutrition and pleasant healing space, the play areas and workspaces, and community interaction is really important. We wouldn't get the same level of community interaction if we were in a rural area. Our goals for the site fall into 4 broad categories. The first would be to convert our waste and reduce our impact on the environment, both locally and globally. The second would be to provide food and medicine for ourselves. The third is to reduce our energy needs and to optimize our use of natural energies. And the fourth are personal reasons for having a permaculture site, including enjoyable outdoor spaces with good sun protection, entertainment, inspiration, education, and a culinary adventure. In summary, the 5 main functions of our food forest are carbon capture, food and medicine, heating and cooling, giving us outdoor exercise and outdoor living. In part 2, I'll have a look at the strategies we use, such as sector analysis, zoning and layering.